What's up, guys? Thomas Mott here. Welcome into the Thomas Mott Show on a Wednesday. You know how Philadelphia is 8-0? Like, remember how 8-0, no issues, they have no holes offensively or defensively? Well, I think there's a player out there that might plug one tiny little hole that a lot of Eagle fans have been clamoring for really since the offseason, and that is the safety position. And what do you know? The Raiders just released former first-round draft pick Johnathan Abram, and he might be a really good option for the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's go and jump into a Yahoo Sports article detailing all of this, mentioning Eagles should have interest in claiming Johnathan Abram. And so, of course, as we give you the full update here, Tom Pelissero had the update this morning, or I say yesterday morning. Quote, a surprise, the Raiders released former first-round pick safety Johnathan Abram per source. And as the article goes on to say, this could make sense for the Eagles. Here we go. Quote, you can never have enough talent and depth in the NFL, so every team should be intrigued when a former first-round pick hits the market. The rebuilding Raiders released former first-round pick Johnathan Abram, a star out of Mississippi State. Abram slipped on the depth chart behind Duron Harmon and rookie Trayvon Woodard. I don't recognize that name. I don't watch the Raiders, sorry. Abram had a career-high 116 tackles with 4 pass defended and an interception during 14 appearances in 2021, but his play has slipped dramatically in 2022. Abram has 48 total tackles and 1 pass defended through 8 games this season, and as a fourth-year player, he'll be subject to waivers rather than outright release. In 168 snaps against the run, Abram has a 43.4 grade per PFF. That's terrible. Philadelphia has 4 safeties on the roster, including disappointing K'Von Wallace and rookie Reed Blankenship. A change can be suitable for players, and for a team like Philadelphia, landing an in-the-box safety could be a need for a team that has struggled to stop opposing running backs at the point of attack. Okay, so here's the thought process on Johnathan Abrams. I'll give it to you guys straight. There's no fluff, no BS here. It's very, very simple. He is not going to be a starting safety. You would not go ahead and put a waiver claim in for Johnathan Abrams if you wanted him to be a starting safety because, as we know, Philadelphia's 2 starting safeties, one is going to be a Pro Bowler, and the other, Marcus Epps, is done fine this year. I don't think he's been terrible. He hasn't been, Pro Bowl caliber, but he's been fine. So you have CJ Gardner-Johnson, for sure Pro Bowler, might be first-team All-Pro at safety this year. He's lead the league in interceptions. He's great. And you have Marcus Epps, so no need to go ahead and sign Abrams to replace them. What you do need Johnathan Abrams for is a backup spot. As you know, as I know, when K'Von Wallace enters the game, when you see 43 in that black visor that he wears every single game, you know the Eagles are in trouble. And you saw this when CJ Gardner-Johnson went down a couple of games ago with that hand injury against Dallas, or just a couple of quarters is really what it was. And as soon as K'Von Wallace came in, back came Dallas. Now, I don't want to rip on K'Von Wallace. I don't want to hate on K'Von Wallace. I think K'Von Wallace is a fine special teams guy. But if you get to a situation where he has to come in and play significant snaps during a playoff game or during multiple games down the stretch here, Philadelphia will be in trouble. Now, there's no guarantee that Johnathan Abram is going to go ahead and save the day. He wouldn't enter in and then fill in for an injured Marcus Epps, for instance, and just be fantastic. But I do think that he would definitely give you some depth and some needed depth and at least a second chance on a new football team where maybe he could go ahead and revitalize his career. I think Johnathan Abrams would be a really, really good signing for the Philadelphia Eagles, and I desperately think that Philadelphia must at least take a look at submitting a waiver claim. Now, unfortunately, the way the waiver wire works, much like your fantasy league, there's no guarantee Philadelphia could even get at him because they are very last in line, and so some team can submit a waiver claim way before and go ahead and claim Johnathan Abrams. So it might all be for nothing, but I do think if there was a position right now Philadelphia desperately needs to go ahead and address is the backup safety spot, and anytime a former first-round draft pick comes onto the scene, I think it would be at least worth taking a look here at Johnathan Abram, formerly of the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, a lot of people are talking about Ndamukong Suh possibly being signed to Philadelphia as well. I'll break that down for you guys and where I'm at on that in just 1 second. First, though, we have another great DraftKings promo for another big weekend of Eagles football, Monday night against the Washington Commanders. How about this deal from DraftKings? Link down below. You bet $5 on the Eagles. You win $200 in free bets if your first moneyline bet wins. AKA, you bet $5 on Philadelphia. If the Eagles win, no matter what the score, you're going to get $200. That is a crazy good deal right now. We had a bunch of people sign up last week. They did the bet, and they won, and they're all messaging me, oh, Thomas, this is great. Hey, I'm trying to help you guys out here. This is a DraftKings. A lot of channels don't have DraftKings. Really lucky to have them here on the Thomas Mott Show. Jump in on this deal. Bet 5, win 200 in free bets. All the details and the link that you need is down below in the description box. You feel like the Eagles are going to beat the Commanders, right? Like we all think that they will. Feels like it's a pretty safe bet. I don't know. Up to you. Jump in on it if you are of age and, of course, in a legal state. Now, this whole idea of a defensive tackle addition basically comes due to the fact that Philadelphia's running game or run defense didn't look too great against the Texans on Thursday night. Of course, first game without Jordan Davis, and so people have speculated, oh, and Ndamukong Suh, what about, he's like one of the only good D tackles that's out there. And you go, okay, maybe, but do you need Ndamukong Suh? Well, according to NBC Sports, you see the headline here, Eagles confident they have enough DT depth without Davis, and this is from Dave Zengaro is how you say his name, and he kind of breaks this all down here, but the most notable thing we're going to look at is the quote from Nick Sirianni, where he says, quote, yeah, we're confident in the guys that are there. Head coach Sirianni said on Friday, we've always felt like we were pretty deep room with Hargrave and Cox and Milton Williams, and obviously Jordan and Marvin Wilson off the practice squad. Yeah, we're confident there. We're excited to see Marvin play and get some good reps in there, and so yeah, we're confident in that group. I know they'll continue to get better, and the young guys will continue to get better for sure as they see more playing time. That's the end quote for Nick Sirianni. The NBC Sports article goes on to say, quote, of course, it's not easy to replace a player like Davis, even though he was averaging just 22.5 snaps per game before the Steelers game. Davis was a huge part of the Eagles defense as a run stuffer on early downs. For the most part, Davis got all of his snaps as a nose tackle in the Eagles' odd man front, and that's not an easy position to replace, even though it's not a 3-down position. And so, I get it. I get the idea of, oh, Thomas, you just went on to say, well, you need to go sign Johnathan Abram as a backup safety. Why not go sign Ndamukong Suh? I think Suh would cost a lot more money. I think Ndamukong Suh wants a legit couple $1 million, a little bit above the veteran minimum. Now, I could be wrong on that one. Maybe he's waiting for the right team to go ahead and call. Maybe he'd play for the veteran minimum. But I think Philadelphia understands that you don't have to wait too long to get Jordan Davis back. It should be 3 weeks, at least 3 weeks from this Sunday. And even though that it's a tough little stretch, he should be back in and around the Tennessee Titan game. And after that, then he comes back, you're healthy, you're good to go, and he feels and solves your run game issues and solves your nose tackle issues. I don't know if I can sit here and say you need to go sign both of these players. If I was going to pick between Johnathan Abram and, of course, signing Ndamukong Suh, I would pick Johnathan Abram over Ndamukong Suh. And that might be a hot take, right? I might rip me for that one, but I do think that it would be the wiser move for Philadelphia. The question, of course, is will he pass waivers? Whereas you could just go ahead and get Ndamukong Suh right now because he's a total free agent. So we're going to keep an eye on this. I'm not saying they're going to sign either of these players. I'm just presenting you, as I like to do here, with some options. That way you're up to date and know what's going on in case something were to go ahead and happen. If you appreciate that, give the show a thumbs up and subscribe, as we're very close to 6K subs here on the Thomas Mott Show. I would greatly appreciate if you did sub. Okay, National League story of the day. This comes, obviously, as we are keeping an eye on OBJ. Mentioned it on the show yesterday. Well, Jerry Jones has weighed in on his weekly radio hit at 103.5 or 105.3 The Fan in Dallas, where he, licked his chops, was rubbing those hands together, talking about OBJ to Dallas. And I think that it's, I don't know if we're going to say that it's a guarantee, but this could actually happen. Listen to this, quote, what are you talking about? Beckham is someone we have all the appreciation in the world for what he has as a competitor, and know that the Cowboys star on the helmet when he puts it on could look pretty good. Now, that doesn't guarantee. I emphasize this to you guys, right? Nothing that we talk about here, unless it's official, is guaranteed. That's why, sometimes it's not going to happen. That happened with the trade deadline. Talked about different players that could be traded. It was in the ether. It was mentioned, but didn't happen, besides the Robert Quinn stuff. This is not guaranteed he's going to be a Dallas Cowboy. But it means they're going to at least take a look. It means that Jerry Jones is at least interested. And if Jerry Jones is interested, well, then that might just happen for the Dallas Cowboys, because Jerry Jones is the owner and GM, and he kind of makes all of the calls. So I'm torn on this, right? On one hand, he's coming off an ACL, doesn't guarantee he's going to be 100%. He might not be a big factor, could be a big distraction for Dallas, right? That'd be good for Philadelphia. On the other hand, though, that was the thought process when he signed with the Rams, and what did he do with the Rams come playoff time? He was maybe their best receiver right behind Cooper Kupp. I mean, it was Kupp and OBJ was well on the way to almost potentially winning the Super Bowl MVP had he not been hurt in that game. This could make Dallas very, very scary. And so it's a good move for the Cowboys, I think. I think the Niners could benefit from this. Buffalo, I don't know if they need running back help, although they already got that with Nyheim Hines. But we're going to keep an eye on this here, because it could be a big play. It could be a big, power shift, or at least a power move in the NFC, because a lot of people consider Philadelphia 1, then you have the Vikings, and then it's kind of this like, who's 3? Is it Dallas? Is it the 49ers? Well, record would say it's Dallas. They're 6-2 versus the 4-4 Niners, and so that is definitely something to keep an eye on here. Could OBJ be a Cowboy very soon? We will monitor. But Jerry, on the radio show, Jerry seems pretty interested in doing just that. All right, that's it for today's Thomas Mott Show. I'm going to be on the road the next couple of days, but don't worry about it. I got plenty of great stuff. We're going to do stuff from the road. I mean, we're going to always give you shows every single day, and so stay tuned for that. And we want to make sure you guys are covered, so be sure to subscribe and give the show a thumbs up and jump in on that DraftKings deal as well. Again, I'm Thomas Mott. This is the Thomas Mott Show.